Welcome everyone back to another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son George. I was my mother's caregiver after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Unfortunately, she passed on 1/1/2020, but we started together for Sharon.com in her memory. Today I have an incredible, not just individual, in my opinion, a hero in the field of Parkinson's awareness, but also a published author. And I'm honored to say I just joined her recently. So I feel like we're a kind of family in that too. So I want to welcome Susha today and just thank you again for not just today, but I feel like we've known each other almost a year and feels like longer. It's amazing how time flies, but it's such an honor to, again, fight by your side for this important cause. So welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, love sharing about Parkinson's.
Yeah, well, first let's really talk, because I don't know if you're a self-publisher, but I think the book is beautiful and everyone out there, I'll share the link. We're going to go actually on Amazon altogether and check it out. But this is the book, your book, Parkinson's Disease, Reclaim Your Life, and tips that we'll talk about today to help manage symptoms. First, before we get into that, what made you really want to, well, first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll talk about the book.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I am a physical therapist. I've been a physical therapist for 21 years. And, I just have a real passion towards the Parkinson's population. I did my Doctor of Physical Therapy at Wayne State University. Currently the director of therapy at an inpatient rehab hospital. And I work to advocate for Parkinson's, and I'm the program chair at my hospital for our Parkinson's program as well. I do continuing education classes for Parkinson's, for clinicians out in the fields, for different PTs, OTs, speech therapists, case managers, nurses, just to spread the word out of all that we could do to help manage this, diagnosis, this condition, and get those people back on track to getting some progress. And I just love being an advocate, and for this disease is just very close to my heart.
Thanks. And is there like one moment or reason that got you into the field of therapy, but also specifically for Parkinson's? Because my mother always joked and dreamt, because I love fitness, even though today I'm not able to do as much because of my own health, but she always dreamt I would be a physical therapist and have my own little gym. And 'cause I really loved it. Unfortunately, the science went out the window and I couldn't really pass any of it. So just curious how, Parkinson's is a specific area. And as you know, it's not always easy for awareness. But when we join together, I feel our voices are so much stronger. But maybe what was that one moment that said the light, like I have to try and help those who really need the support?
Absolutely. So my book is actually dedicated to my mom, Sarah Zachariah. She passed away with cancer at the young age of 53
Sorry
in
to hear that.
2003. Yeah. So even though she had cancer, she was a nurse and she just loved taking care of the people who weren't able to help themselves. So she loved working with the Alzheimer's population. She loved working with the dementia population. She would literally spend her whole day just trying to make their lives happy. And so I had the opportunity to shadow at her hospital and all of that stuff. And I saw that, how much love and passion she put into her career and helping those who weren't able to help themselves. And I knew, in my interest was more in physical therapy. And I knew when I joined that field, I wanted to find that population that I can serve, that I can help. And to me, the overlooked population was the Parkinson's population, because time and time again, when I was working with patients with Parkinson's, I would notice that, they just give up. A lot of patients, they'd say, why am I even doing this? It's a progressive disorder. I'm not going to get better. Just let me sit here. And, then I would encourage them. I give them the tips of, what they needed to do to help improve their mobility, help improve their strength and all of that stuff. And as they started working with me and seeing the progress, they immediately had that change in them. And they were like, oh my God, I wish I knew you 5 years ago. I wish I knew you 10 years ago. You have made such an impact in my life. Um, and so when I went for, I started to go for continuing education courses and certifications in Parkinson's, and I realized, man, this is just amazing, because Parkinson's, as you know, is due to that lack of chemical in your brain called dopamine. And the real function of dopamine is that it controls movement. And so basically, if I'm wanting to pick up pick up a glass of water, my brain is telling me that I need to go so far, like 10 inches to reach that glass of water. Because the level of dopamine in my brain is sufficient and it's allowing me to do that. However, if I have Parkinson's, because of the decrease in that dopamine in my brain, when I reach 5 inches, the brain is telling me, it's okay, you can stop, you don't need to go further. You've reached your destination, you've reached that cup. And so the dopamine in the brain, the less amount of dopamine is giving those muscles the wrong message, leading to smaller symptoms overall. So you're going to notice that small steps, you're going to notice that small handwriting, that soft voice, the rigidity, all the masked face. I mean, all of those symptoms of Parkinson's, the stooped over posture, everything is because the brain is giving the muscles the wrong message. But we can fix that by rewiring the brain. The brain is such an amazing organ, and we can create new pathways. Instead of using that pathway that's telling you constantly to do things smaller, if we create a pathway in our brain to do things bigger and better, it's going to help so many symptoms of the Parkinson's to help resolve and slow the progression of the disease.
Thank you for that. And today we're going to dedicate this show to your mom. So we'll make sure she's never
Awesome.
forgotten. And also, it's I agree. And I'm really honored again to have you on because physical therapy to me is very important. It's really the one thing that brings hope. You know, unfortunately, with my mother, towards the end, she was not doing well, and we had to go into long-term hospice, which was a brand new thing that Florida offered. So you actually would be in it for even over a year. And the problem with hospice, as you probably well know more than me, is that they don't believe in physical therapy. So I remember, like, literally it was positive for the family to have it because we had a real nurse who came in and they provided medicines and all that was amazing because we couldn't handle it. But then on the bad side is the therapy because she was doing bad, but we put a little gym in her house just so she could kind of move. And every time she did it, she felt like she, in her own mind, and I was happy too when she said it, that she's going to get better and fight it. But the second that, they just stopped therapy, she kind of lost the hope. And that's when it went
Yeah.
so far, it went down. It was like a disaster. But that's why
Sad, isn't it?
it was horrible, and I just didn't. I still don't understand. I understand if you go into hospice like for a week or two and it's end, but they don't consider Parkinson's today in Florida under the law even still end of life disease. And my mother was only 69. She was young
Oh,
like your mom, and my
yeah.
mother had no other medical issues at all. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
still a
we need to get
mystery.
the word out. We need
Yeah.
to get the word out, and that's why we're fighting for this together.
Yeah,
So,
I appreciate it. And now let's get really into the book. Some of the things I love are the topics, which we'll talk about. And also, I'm a very visual person. So my wife, Greta, and we were looking at it. And now, of course, I don't see it. I love like the little diagrams. That might be hard to see on but you could see
yeah,
it. And I'm visual. So I think that was beautiful. Plus, you could tell us more, but it was from your actual children, which is a beautiful message, not just for in memory of your mom, but for the world to see that the future are going to have some great physical therapists come to your family.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that the book had a personal touch because my mom never had the opportunity to see me married off. She never had the opportunity to meet my kids, and I just wanted it to be a good memoir towards her and my kids. They were, I believe, 13, no, actually 12 and 14 at the time that they helped draw those images and all of the book. I just wanted to have a good personal touch in it. And so,
And what inspired you to write a book? Because I just finished, and I actually have three more done, but they'll take years to edit. But I don't know why I'm doing it. It just obviously we're all here for awareness. It's not you're not going to or I won't make a career on it because of the funding. But some of the number one, what made you want to put a book together, and how did you get such fabulous and incredible topics? Because as I read them, like, am I losing my voice and my handwriting is getting smaller? I have to tell you, I get asked all these questions, what are the first signs and things. I never even have the time to get into some of these topics. And these are actually some of the most important signs that we kind of, we look at the external tremors like Mr. Michael J. Fox. We look at the slowness and the mainly the tremors and the gait, but I think that, I think maybe some don't want to hear about these that could possibly happen, but with physical therapy, as you can talk on, you can actually change that. So I'll let you maybe talk a little bit about those topics.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, like I said, I've been seeing patients with Parkinson's for the last 21 years. And every single time, I'd have to let them know what are some of the things that you could do to help improve your condition, how to combat that small handwriting, how do I combat, small steps. If I have freezing, what am I supposed to do? My voice is gone. I can't communicate with my loved one. What am I supposed to do? And, I'm helping impact that one person's life, but then in my mind, I'm like, it shouldn't end here. I need to impact and provide this information to those who aren't able to come to the clinic for physical therapy, those that are out there that need to know this information. And in my mind, the only way that I could do that is by, publishing a book. Now, I've never published a book in my life or nothing like that, but I knew I had to get this information out to the world so that every single person would be able to know how to manage their condition, because I can change the life of somebody in my, in the PT clinic, but to impact all of those out there who are suffering the same things and who have the same questions, I wanted to make sure that I had the ability to get that information out there. So basically, I honestly YouTubed every single step of how to publish a book, how to self-publish a book, how to do this, how to do that. And I just worked and I had all my thoughts lined up. Literally, I had my cell phone and I just felt like God was speaking to me, because one night I woke up and I felt like I need to do something for this population. I need to get the word out. And I believe everybody has a God-given talent. And I basically took my cell phone out and I was writing all of those chapters you just told me. Why is my handwriting getting smaller? What do I do with my voice? If I have tremors, how do I control those? And I basically wrote down every single chapter that night, and then I expanded on them. And then I went ahead and I published the book to help out all those out there. Early intervention is the key with Parkinson's, because the symptoms, even if you have a small tremor or if you have that loss of smell, some of those things are early symptoms that, some people, they just brush off as aging symptoms. And the earlier you get to a neurologist and say, hey, I've just been noticing that things are getting harder, that, I'm getting more stiffer, or I'm getting a tremor. If you speak to your doctor, maybe they'll consider looking into seeing if it is related to Parkinson's. If it's not, great, but if it is, you could get that early intervention and treatment that would help, delay the progression of the disease.
Thanks. Yeah, and that's why I'm literally here with you now, is because I want the world to know about your book. I think the toughest thing as a independent publisher, plus in the Parkinson's awareness world, is getting the word out. So,
Yeah.
Everyone listening, please share this. It's not just about, I always say, it's not just about today. This conversation needs to continue, but until we find a cure. So thank you. And again, everyone, please support her here.
Thank you.
Thing, but and I'm gonna share the link too. But this is very important. What I'm passionate, obviously, unfortunately, I lost my mother. I'd never even heard of Parkinson's except the word for the first 8 years, because my mother kind of, I don't know if she hid it, but didn't want to burden, she said, the family. And I wish she did, because who knows what might have changed. I don't think that we could have done anything differently. But what brings the passion for you, not just in the book, but for still doing, I mean, you have so many jobs, like you sound like me. So the education world is our home too. So what drives you every day? I mean, some days might be tough and you're overwhelmed, unless I'm talking about just me. What drives you to keep pushing?
Until we find a cure for this, George. I mean, until we find a cure for this, each individual can help and do their bit. So whatever talents I have, I'm going to share it with the world until we find a cure for this. My hope is that one day we'll have a simple blood test, maybe, that might, be able to diagnose Parkinson's immediately, or there might be something out there that, even just a simple scan, because right now there's really no definitive diagnosis of Parkinson's that can be made except but going based off of symptoms and excluding every other diagnosis. And that's how you come to the conclusion that maybe that person has Parkinson's. Let's start them on carbidopa, levodopa, and see if that's going to help them. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if we had a definite diagnosis early on, and we had a cure for that. I mean, until there's a cure, all of us have to keep pushing and fighting and doing what we can to get the word out there that let's don't give up. You know, there's in the meanwhile, while we're waiting for a cure, let's push to slow your progression of the disease. Do not let anybody tell you that there's nothing you can do for this condition, because they are absolutely wrong. I've seen it with my own eyes. Do not give up. Exercise is the only proven thing that has showed slowed progression of the disorder. So, you know, use that in your mind, that do not let anybody tell you otherwise.
Thanks. And I know with the biomarker discovered by Michael J. Fox Foundation, that brought some hope. And I heard that they want to take that because that's very invasive. I hear, like, I've had enough spinal tying of the needles. I don't want anymore. But if they could take that, I heard the rumor, and bring that into the blood test, like you said, that's the future. But it still isn't the cure. And even with the national plan passing, I couldn't jump for joy because I had back surgery, but it was a big thing, a big step. But, you know, now implementing it seems like another obstacle, just because you pass it and it's not even finished yet. It's still, who knows when the president will sign it or who the president will be at the time, but it's still a lot of work ahead. So I appreciate your work. I'm going to ask one question, then as you're speaking, I'll share some important resources and we can get to those. But in your 20 years, it's amazing again how fast the time goes, but working in physical therapy, is there one patient that sticks out or really kind of is in your memory as we speak? And as you answer, I'll just share some things.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's always that one patient that sticks in your memory. So I had this one patient who had that small handwriting we were talking about a little bit earlier. And basically his wife was so upset. And of course, a lot of times the spouses, the caregivers, all of those people are those that are actively involved with the patient during their therapy session. And one of their main goals was to get his handwriting bigger, because he was the main financial guy. He was the one who used to write the checks for all the bills. And that's back when there was no online checking and all that stuff. And so he needed to get back to his independence on writing those checks. And he basically said, my handwriting is illegible. Nobody's going to be able to read it. The wife said, he's not been able to do this for years, but I'd really like him to do it because this is his area. This is what makes him happy, is being able to help with the finances. And so what I did in therapy, like I said, the brain can be rewired. We just need to focus on doing things bigger and consistently, repeatedly doing things that way. And so what I did is I zoomed up a check template and I made it huge. And every day during his session, I made him practice writing pay to the order of, and you know, whatever it was, you know, the energy company or whatever it was, and I had him write big every single day on that check template, until one day, like a week later, his wife came running in and she had tears of joy, and she was like, Susha, he has not been able to do this for 5 years. He wrote his first check in 5 years, and I could read it. Everybody can read it. And it just made her so happy. And doing things like that, just that small thing of practicing writing big, made a huge impact in their quality of life. And whatever we could do to help with that, I mean, that's what we need to. So I think that's the one patient that always sticks to my memory, because at that point, I'm like, if I can help this one person, I can help a million other people.
We say if we just reach one person even today, then we've changed the world for the better. And for that one person to realize they're not alone, that's the only reason I do this, but I appreciate it. I want to just turn quick and thank you again. I just looked, I'm shocked that so I've known you, you know, it's going to be before you know it, 2 years, 3 years, we'll know each other. And it's amazing. I think the only way we do improve awareness is by working together. And it's not always easiest, as you know, but it's important when we do. So thanks again. So if everyone goes to togetherforsharon.com and click interviews, you'll see the interview we did together. And again, I'm grateful for that. And you could find a lot more details, information, and some great questions, and also how to reach out to. Next area was wanted to also let everyone know we don't accept anything from this, anything I do except for a cure. So we started a few months ago, actually. I thought, like Michael J. Fox, I have a listing of books, and I thought, why not try to help individuals in the Parkinson's field promote their book. And as you can see, we don't accept anything. So you can go right to the website and order the book directly. So I just wanted to show that you were one of my favorites and first. So I wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Kind of growing, so I can't even find it. It's oh, there you
There
go.
it is.
It's by alphabetical order, not by book or anything. So here you are. But the nice thing is when you click, it goes right to Amazon. There you go. So this is not easy. I think your pricing is incredibly reasonable, like beyond I can even do. So you're probably not, just so the audience knows, you're not making anything, I think, on this, because I
Yeah.
know from my perspective, I don't make anything, and mine's a little bit more. So it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. I don't know if you have anything you wanted to add just on this page.
Yeah, no, I mean, the reason I keep it cheap is because I want it to be, it's not for, like you said, profit or anything like that. It's just to help get that word out and help anybody who I can. And I mean, the more it's read, I hope it's impacting the life and helping somebody at least with one of those symptoms that they may be having. It kind of goes over, you know, the home environment. It goes over caregiver tips. It goes over what to do after a fall and how to get up after a fall, because that's huge. You know, with the Parkinson's population, you're going to notice balance impairments. You're going to notice some postural instability, and it's very important to know how to safely get up from a fall without having further injury and hitting your head or something like that. And so I tried to make sure that every chapter in that book had a meaningful purpose, and that it was going to be something that the community would be able to, you know, read easily without using that medical jargon and all that stuff. And so you know, I actually had a patient who we you know, we provide my book to our patients at our hospital, and I gave it to her, and the next day she came and it was all highlighted. And she was like, I love this because this is one of the things that I wasn't able to do before. And I read this and I'm like, man, if I only knew that before. And she had it all highlighted with the tabs and all that in her book. And I'm like, man, that just made my day.
That's an amazing story. And I mean, I can look at these bulleted topics and have about 2 hour conversation on each topic. So we might have to have our own show someday. So
Yeah,
these are
absolutely.
these are really important. Like I don't even get time to speak about a lot of these with my mother, but
Mm.
I have to talk about some of them. And I'm not the expert. I just, you know, everyone has their own journey. And the next area I wanted to kind of talk about has your impressively, on top of all the things you do, also a volunteer at the Houston Area Parkinson Society. I try to find different organizations around the country just to help promote them. Some of them,
Mm.
unfortunately, don't seem to want help, which that's the one thing I don't understand. But yours has always been really open arms, and even again with the interviews. And again, I want nothing in return. So it's, I just think that there could be someone in this Houston area that needs help and doesn't even know they exist. And that's what my dream
Absolutely.
and goal was. So I don't know why some of the bigger organizations still just, you know, don't want to join in, but I'm honored again that you do. Maybe just quickly, we could talk about their mission and a little bit about them, and we'll move on.
Absolutely. So the Houston Area Parkinson Society is just a wonderful resource for different exercise programs, caregiver support programs. They have exercise classes all around the Houston area. They have caregiver support classes all around the Houston area. All you need is a diagnosis of Parkinson's. It's absolutely free resource for everybody. And not only in Houston, any state you go to, there is a support group in your location. I guarantee you. All you got to do is look for them. And my recommendation is get out there and get involved with the Parkinson's, other patients with Parkinson's, because that peer support is huge. That caregiver support is huge, and having y'all work together. We host exercise class at our inpatient rehab hospital that I'm the director at, and that I help oversee as well, just to make sure that it's going on. We have two wonderful therapists that are leading it, and you know, basically every week you could see the joy in their faces as they're doing the exercises, and they get rejuvenated and they feel so much stronger when they get out, because we work on exercises specific to Parkinson's that they could carry through and do at home, and they feel so much stronger when they leave. So the Houston Area Parkinson Society just has been amazing in providing those support services that are needed for anybody with the diagnosis of Parkinson's. So even if you're not in the Houston area, wherever you are, just look out for those support services and join them, because support groups are huge with the Parkinson's population, and it's free. Just grab that resource and run with it.
Thank you. And then the next one was another article. There's a lot of articles out there. They're all positive on you, so congratulations. And this
Thank you.
one is more from the Houston Daily, so I just kind of did a little research on that. But they're all out there available. Everyone listening, feel free to also research and add to that. Just a few more questions, then I want to kind of shift towards our last section is more about you and not Parkinson's. So, we did touch on this, but I know you mentioned the blood test hopefully in the future, but is there any progress in the physical therapy world, more specifically in your, 20 years, but, even in the last few years, any
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I think technology is what has grown in the field. Absolutely, the technology part of it. And so there are so many apps now that are available on your phone, so simple. And what all you got to do is download that app. So people who have, like, for example, the voice quality in your voice has become smaller and lower, and you can't be heard anymore. There's apps available that will retrain your vocal cords to speak louder, and you basically will catch the amplitude that your voice is coming out and work on getting that voice louder and louder, so that communication piece will be better. And there's apps available for different metronomes that are out there. You just need to search on your Apple Store or whatever Play Store that you have. But the metronomes are like beats that, suppose that you're walking and you have Parkinson's and you're starting to freeze, or you feel like your foot is stuck on the ground. A lot of times research shows that if you walk to a beat, like if you walk listening to that beat, your feet automatically will move to that beat. So that frozen episode that you feel like your foot is stuck on the floor will go away. And so that really does help with Parkinson's. And all they got to do is turn on the metronome, put it in their pocket, and start walking, practice walking big with that metronome on. And it does amazing results. We do it all the time in clinic. Just practice. Repetition is key, because with Parkinson's diagnosis, doing things bigger, repeating it, and keeping it challenging is huge. Keeping it simple is huge too, because a lot of times with Parkinson's, there's too many steps complicates things for them. So keep it simple. If you want to stand up, don't tell them, let's scoot up, let's lean forward, let's push up and get your feet back. That's too many steps. Just tell them to stand up big and tall to the ceiling, to stand up big, and you'll see amazing results. So lots of technology, lots of different strategies that could be used in the therapy field to retrain that brain.
Thanks. And one more thing about the book, which I was shocked to find out. My mother passed 4 years ago, so I knew there's about 1 million people in the U.S. with Parkinson. But then I saw, oddly, because of social media, discovered the World Parkinson's Congress, and I was shocked to find out, in addition to the U.S., 10 million people around the world had Parkinson's, and that's when I embarked on the interviews of 700 people around the world, because I wanted people to be aware of this, because I wasn't. So some of the things I guess we do today are because we weren't even aware. Even when I was going through as caregiver, my mother with Parkinson's, we felt alone, and it was really horrible. So that's why I want people to know they're not alone. Maybe you could talk about the 2023 World Parkinson Congress, and I believe that they had your book on display. I hope someday they'll look at mine too, but maybe we could
Yeah.
have ours next to each other.
Absolutely. It was a huge honor for them. So it was selected to be displayed at the World Parkinson's Conference in Barcelona, Spain in July 2023. Huge honor for them to select the book. So the process of application, I can definitely run you through it, because your book is amazing. Let me tell y'all, all of you audiences out there, please purchase this book. It's so heart touching, so it goes through his journey as a caregiver with Parkinson's, and it just really touches your heart. So I just want to give you kudos to your book as well. But I needed to apply to the World Parkinson's Conference Congress and submit my book, and they review lots and lots of books and then decide which one they want to select to display. So it was displayed at that conference in July 2023, which is a huge honor to me as well. So
Congratulations. Hopefully 2026 we'll be meeting for the first
yeah,
time.
there you go.
Never know. It's hard for me to travel, but I'm going to try my best. So now we move a little bit away from the world of Parkinson's awareness and a little bit more on you. First thing, this is, I always say, the challenging time, but it's for fun. You're allowed to skip one if you don't like it, but can you list 3 words that describe who you are?
Passionate. I think I'm committed, and I'd say dedicated. I think those three probably are the 3 words that describes me. Because I just want to make sure that, like I said, if I'm given any talent, I want to make sure that it is spread around. If there's only one talent that anybody has, just keep sharing it so that it impacts another person, because the kindness that you do to another person, you don't realize that it's helping them. And if it does help impact one person, you made a difference in the world. And so I think persistence is key. And being just committed to your field, and just don't give up ever. Just keep spreading that hope and awareness, because every single day everybody makes an impact and a difference in another person's life. And so I think just being loving and kind to people is huge.
This is one of my favorite questions because it doesn't just show how you shine, but someone back there behind the scenes is definitely helping you. So, in terms of times where you struggle, because I know, you're doing amazing things and positive, but you have to be, at least I think, as a therapist, seeing some tough cases and
Yeah.
tough situations that maybe can't end up as a result of how you want, or even I would. But I was a caregiver. What tips can you give caregivers who are listening, and also who helps you during times of not struggle, but where you say this is not easy?
Yeah. It's not easy. I mean, seeing your loved one decline, I mean, even seeing my mom decline with the cancer, it was hard. Because you feel helpless, you feel really helpless, that why can't I help my mom, or why can't I help my whoever it is that is suffering, and even though she didn't have Parkinson's, people with Parkinson's, you see very similar, that that you feel helpless, and that there's nothing that you can do. So my tip to the caregivers is, don't feel that way, because with Parkinson's, at least there's some stuff that y'all could do. Bed mobility, to make bed mobility better and easier on you. If your loved one is starting to get to those stages that it's getting really, really difficult to move around in bed, try using Satin sheets.
It's funny you're
That's
going to say that. It's just, I literally was going to say that when you're done, because I did a show the other day and he told me the individual had Parkinson's. He said he has satin sheets, and it just never even, we have satin sheets, but I never thought of that.
Yeah, because it's just going to help
Never.
them move easier in bed, or satin night pajamas. You know what I mean? That small tip might make a world of a difference and reduce the amount of weight that's needed for them to help move the body, roll the body, to help change them, to help get them in, like their quality of life improved. Simple things like that. Rearranging the home environment to make sure that it's safer, so that where as they move from room to room, that it's not cluttered, that it's an open environment. I mean, simple things like that. You could get couch risers to help, on the couch, to help them get off easier. Simple things, because raising the height of a surface always makes it easier for somebody to be able to get up off of that chair or that bed or whatever it may be. And just making sure that they know it's okay to remind patients with Parkinson's what to do, because a lot of times with Parkinson's, their internal cueing system is kind of messed up. It's affected a lot, and they require a lot of external cueing. That means external reminders from friends and loved ones. Let's take big steps. Okay, it's okay. Let's go ahead and try that again. It's okay if they're not able to do it the first time. Keep trying. That persistence is key, and don't give up. So
A lot of the stuff you say is too so reasonable and not inexpensive, because I went a little overboard. We wanted my mother to feel comfortable. We bought her that chair, which I love. It's a couch, and it actually lifts up where it like will lift you
Yeah,
stand up. She hated it. Like I can't tell. We spent like $1,000. I'm like, oh no, man. And I want,
yeah,
I need one right now, I think. But it's amazing
yeah,
that the stuff out there, but doesn't necessarily mean you need it all. But there's so many things in therapy that you can do on
yeah.
your own for free. And I don't know, maybe do you have virtual sessions ever, or due to COVID?
I've done virtual exercise classes with support
Like,
groups around the country. But I don't have like a platform that I have online, you know, classes as per se. I just go onto support groups and assist with that. But there's so many resources available on YouTube on the exercises that can be done for Parkinson's. I myself am certified in LSVT Big, which is a certification for Parkinson's, which really helps with that population in regards to the outcomes that they can see immediate results. And they can look for an LSBT big clinician within their area by just looking at the website and be able to work closely with a physical therapist that is trained specifically for Parkinson's. And that is my recommendation, is to make sure that whoever they're seeing is definitely trained to treat Parkinson's, because you're going to see amazing results.
That's excellent. Thank you. And next area is, or next question, is there something you would have done differently looking back, the last 10 years in your practice, or just in awareness? Or are you all okay with how things are going?
No, I mean, I'm glad at where I am right now, but at the same time, maybe if I had started sooner, I could have impacted more lives, you know. Like I said, I think it was that thought in my mind, well, I'm not an author. I can't write a book. I don't even know who that would even help, you know? And so having those thoughts in my mind probably delayed that process a little bit. But once I started writing, I'm like, I'm not going to let go of my pen. I'm just going to keep writing until I get this out there and published. And so the earlier intervention, the better, you know what I mean? The more people you can help, the more impact that you can make. Start early and seek out, go see your neurologist anytime that you feel like something might be associated with Parkinson's. I do a lot of church events too, where I speak to the elderly community and I just let them know of signs and symptoms. I mean, for example, stroke awareness is so huge. You know what to look for. You have that FAST acronym. If you have facial drooping, if you have that arm weakness, slurred speech, maybe it's time to go see the doctor to see if you have a stroke. We should do that for Parkinson's too. There should be an acronym that says, if you have tremors, if you have stiffness, if you have difficulty, or loss of smell, go see your neurologist, just to get tested. We need to provide more awareness of the symptoms that may occur before the actual diagnosis of Parkinson's, to get that early intervention. Because a lot of times the nerve death, it takes 6 years in order for those first symptoms to appear. The motor symptoms, it takes at least 6 to 10 years for those motor symptoms to appear. So imagine if we had treated that condition 6 to 10 years ago, we wouldn't have as many nerve cells die. So that's the reason why early intervention is huge.
Thanks. If you were asked to write a script to a movie about your life story, what would you call it? I have a feeling it would probably be this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons that the title of my book is Parkinson's Disease, Reclaim Your Life, instead of just saying Parkinson's Disease, Tips to Help Manage Your Symptoms, I wanted to put Reclaim Your Life in there and it became such a long title, so sometimes it's like lost on Amazon. But the reason I wanted to put that Reclaim Your Life in there is I wanted to provide that hope to the community. Take it back. Take your life back. Don't give up. It's not the end. There are still things that you can do.
Thanks. And then, well, before I get to the final question, did you have anything you want to share? Maybe how individuals out there can reach you?
So I am, my book, like you had shown, is available on Amazon. I am on Instagram, Parkinson's Tips by Susha. And if you individually want to reach out to me, just message me for sure. I am more than happy to help anybody out there with Parkinson's who have questions, because again, if you make a difference in one life, you've done your job for the day.
Thanks. And if you could leave the Parkinson's community, like you answered on the interview written, but now today, if you could leave them with some words of encouragement, what would they be?
My word of encouragement again, just keep at it. Don't give up. We will find a cure one day, but in the meanwhile, just keep working hard, do those exercises, and keep making sure that you're just know you're on the right path to recovery.
Thanks. I appreciate your time. I have a little message for you and everyone listening. We always say we love you, we support you, we care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with Dr. Thomas, will advocate for you, and together our voices are so much stronger. And I'm just getting started. And just like you, even though I'm not really getting started, every time you meet a new patient or I see a new person struggling, it kind of makes me wake up and feel that I need to keep going, and re-energizes me to want to keep fighting till we find a cure. And just again, grateful for your time and friendship. And everyone, again, please get the book. I'll also add it to the notes, and just really appreciate your time again. Thanks for joining me, and everyone out there, please share this. There's some really important, not just awareness, but now we're entered the world of physical therapy, which is really life-changing and saving. So thanks for all your work too.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Have a blessed rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. This has been another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son, George. Like I always end, we still have a lot of work to do until we find a cure, and we'll be out there. At least Dr. Thomas and I will be side by side in this fight. Feel free to reach out, and remember, you're never alone. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.